Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. Jason here bringing you today's video. This fuzzy one right here that may or may not attack my face like she usually does is Freya, my fuzzy little co-star. Hey baby. And the wife's in the other room. So, as always guys, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We're just a small family channel, just the three of us, me, the wife, fuzzy little co-star here that's derping at me. And we just love to talk about books. We love to read, love to talk about books, and we're just going to continue doing it as long as we can. Hopefully 30, 40, 50 years, so we'd appreciate any support you guys might want to give us. So today I want to talk about an author I've talked about in the past and a series I've talked about in the past. I want to talk about Tao Wong and his Thousand Li series, the Thousand Li. This is book 8, I want to say, that just came out a few days ago, and as soon as it came out, I read it, finished it. Just absolutely fantastic. I'm always waiting for the next one. This is actually my favorite series of the series that Tao Wong writes. System of Apocalypse was absolutely fantastic, and the fact that he had an end goal in mind and actually ended the series brings me a lot of hope for the Thousand Li. It does feel like it's working towards a set end goal that we may actually see. There's so many authors that write these ongoing forever series, and Tao Wong definitely does not appear to be one of those authors. He will certainly end his series. But this is my favorite. This one isn't so much lit RPG like System of Apocalypse as it is the Cultivation Wuxia, however that's pronounced, novels or series. And I'm just as much a fan of those as I am the lit RPG books and regular fantasy books and sci-fi and everything else. I'm a huge fan of the Cultivation. So this series just incredible, absolutely incredible. I'm not going to do my usual 4 categories because I've talked about this before. I'm just going to talk about the book. Try not to give too many plot spoilers away, but just talk about the book. So this picks up pretty much directly after the events of book 7 and the tournament, as Wu Ying entered a new I don't want to say city, a new state, maybe a country. It's hard to really say because again, you know, we're at the cultivation, swords and flying people kind of things. So not sure if it's kingdoms, governments, cities. But anyway, he enters a new region. He had entered a new region, basically, fought in a tournament, discovered a whole bunch of political things going on there, kind of unfortunately got involved with them, even though he really hadn't meant to, and had also finally progressed to the next stage of his cultivation journey as a core cultivator, and actually progressed very well. He did it very, very, very well. It was an excellent cultivation. He's still struggling with a few things. So that leads us into this book, book 8, where pretty much occurs directly after the tournament, where he travels with one of the friends that he had made during that tournament to their clan's valley, I suppose, their clan's home, and he kind of works out some almost some trades in a way. He helps them with some things, they help him with some things, and he's just trying to learn. He's just trying to learn because he's got this wind dragon body that he needs to learn more about, so he can try and learn more about how to cultivate and progress, how to progress to the next level. He's all about learning and trying to learn as much as he can. Of course, the Verdant Gatherer name and burgeoning legend still travels a little bit and helps him at times. What are you doing? Helps him at times because he's developed a pretty good name. So the book starts out with him going into to this valley that really reminds him a lot of home. It's a lot, they're simple people, they're good people, and they've got rice farmers and they've got their gatherers and their hunters and so on and so forth. But it's definitely a martial oriented family, definitely. The clan, in a way, almost comes across like a sect. They are martially oriented. They have their family styles, and they have some secrets. There are definitely some secrets that Wu Ying manages to parse out, and then manages to help with a little bit. And then from there, and that's a decent portion of the book, maybe the first third to half of the book. Wu Ying does manage at one point to form another layer around his core as he's continuing to progress. I really, really, really feel like Tao Wong likes to write the Thousand Li books in almost like trilogy arcs, and while it doesn't feel like Wu Ying is going to progress to the next stage, I think it's called the Nascent Soul stage, within this trilogy, so there's only one book left of it, it does feel like he's likely to finish on the cusp of it, definitely on the cusp of it. In a lot of ways, even though the series started out with him as just, really struggling to cultivate and to learn and to progress, he is, while he's not a prodigy, he is definitely starting to show much more as what they would call a genius in what he does. Not just with his gathering and his cultivation, but also with his sword work. He finally figures out the heart of the sword that so few will ever figure out. Which is of course a huge jump to his abilities. But then from this clan, when he does begin his travels again, he being a wind oriented cultivator, he really follows the wind and kind of listens to the wind and just lets it guide him, lets it blow him where it wills, because he figures that's where he's going to learn. He lets the heavenly winds guide him to where he needs to be. And unfortunately, sometimes that leads him to being a prisoner for 6 to 12 months, but in kind of a favored prisoner status where he learns a lot. Let's just say he learns a lot. And that's one of the things that's a whole lot of fun with the Thousand Li series, is that Wu Ying's a very, very calm character and just a good person. And with all the stuff I read, some of the darker stuff that I read and things like that, it's kind of nice to read a series where the character is just a good person. He's just a good person and an admirable person, and yet still a warrior and a killer and a traveler. So he ends up in the desert tribes where he learns from them. He learns new languages. He learns new possible cultivation techniques and new things. He ends up fighting sea monsters and almost dying there, but learning a few new things and gaining a few new abilities from there. Then he ends up in the far. He ends up almost meeting the what is it, the Winter Dragon King or something like that. But he makes it all the way up to the far north, where a legendary spirit beast, the King of the Dragons, is. And ends up meeting a dragon. He ends up meeting dragons a couple times and almost dies both times. He ends up meeting a couple of very, very, very interesting, very powerful nascent soul cultivators that just running in that are very, very, very fascinating. In fact, he ends up meeting three right there. He ends up meeting two that running in and one that's just a homeless bum. And yet they're fascinating. They're interesting. They're cool, and they help him continue to grow. And that's the thing. This book, the first part dealt with the clan and his friends that he had made. And then from there, it almost feels like a combination between slice of life and... Well, no, the first part feels like slice of life. The second part feels like not a training montage, more of a traveling training montage, if that makes sense. Because he covers, deserts to Arctic tundras, to probably the North Pole, to coming back down through to seas, to seasides, to ocean sides, to traveling in a hurricane, to burying himself for 5 years to cultivate. And it's like this montage, a traveling training montage. It's really interesting and really builds up. As like I said, Tao Wong really tends to write these in trilogies, and looks like book 3 is likely of this particular arc is likely going to be pretty intense, because it starts to really build. You start getting some hints of a few things, and you kind of get this idea that Wu Ying's time going up against the dark sects may not be over yet. In fact, it might be time for him to go up against them again. So, guys, if you guys like cultivation novels, or you guys just like an awesome author like Tao Wong, check out The Thousand Li. And again, book 8 just came out, but this is one you definitely want to go all the way back to book 1. But it's a whole ton of fun. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye now.